Wayne County probate court officers in this case stressed my mother out so bad it killed her. Let me explain. My mother used to constantly worry about the case because they was constantly hounding us, harassing us, bullying us, abusing us, doing things like getting keys to the home, making us say they're going to come in the home on us, try to come in the house without permission, invade us, run out of court, constantly lie, try to put my sister in a group home, constantly defame my name and defame my mother's name. By doing things, by blaming her for things the former trustee at the time, Mark Haywood, had did, such as not taking care of the home, calling, restoration people out here when the house flooded, that he contracted with that made things worse in the house, and so on. They blame my mom. As a result of the constant stress, her not being able to sleep, staying up all night, late at night, because she's very protective of us, worried about them taking my sister away, worried about them constantly attacking me, causing me to have panic attacks, she developed cancer. And some people might say, well, you can't get cancer from that. Well, according to the research I did, yes, you can. You can get cancer from too much stress. And the weird thing was, when I talked to the doctor about it, when I first found out about cancer, he said the type of cancer she had, they don't know why people get that kind of cancer. It was clear cell cancer in her uterus. And it said that her medical condition she had at the time, diabetes and high blood pressure, did not cause this condition. And they didn't know where it came from, and the type of cancer she had was aggressive. I did research, and it comes to find out that if a person is under stress, some people will develop cancer. And I also believe this because cancer does not run on my mother's side of the family. Things, like I said before, like diabetes runs on my mother's side of the family, high blood pressure, people that passed away mostly passed away from strokes, a few from heart attacks, and a few, unfortunately, their lives was cut short by accidents or they was murdered. But no one on her side of the family had cancer, so she shouldn't have developed cancer. Yes, she did, and she beat it the first time in 2016 when she got it. But in 2018, it came back. And while my mother was dying from cancer in her room in April 2018, Charlene Glover Hogan and James McCann, the former guardian and the current GAL, respectively, came into the home, inspected the home, basically refused to help us when we asked for help, like there's new furniture, wanted to go to my mother's room, which she made clear she did not want in the room because she did not like them, she did not trust them, and I felt that they should respect her wishes because she was passing away. They knew she was leaving here. And instead of them doing that, they run all over the house anyway. James keeps trying to talk to me about this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, Charlene goes to talk to my minor niece, who I was taking care of at the time, who I was the guardian of, without my consent or permission, asked what school she went to, and she grabbed her arm. My niece didn't tell me about this until later. And anyway, they sent a dog protective service to our home for no reason, blaming us for the condition of our home, when they knew that the fact was that the trustee was the one that's supposed to keep a maid in the home. We repeatedly asked for help from the trustee and them to get the trustee to do his job and make repairs around the home and such, and they refused to do so. Now, mind you, at the time, my mother was passed away from cancer. I was busy taking care of her, and they was complaining about bags full of clean clothes, which I hadn't gotten around to putting up yet because I worked with my sister to help me put those things up. And sometimes it was difficult to get her to help her do chores due to her brain injury. So I hadn't gotten around to that yet. And then there was like one bag of dirty clothes, which I hadn't gotten to yet, because a lot of times when I was doing things around the house, I would have to stop what I'm doing to go tend to my mother, because her health came first, her comfort came first to me. I didn't care what anybody said. Like, the house would be there. The house could be clean later, and which it was clean. It just was little stuff, like I said, clean clothes and the clean clothes in a bag, and then dirty clothes in a dirty clothes basket. So based on that, they ran down to the house was filthy and disgusting, which it was not. And mind you, at the time, I was also helping my brother who had problems with his kidney, my older brother. He didn't live with us, so I would have to go visit him especially on the weekends, to do things like help him clean up his house or whatnot. And I was taking care of my sister, who was disabled, and my niece, who was a minor. But I guess they expect me to be able to do everything at once. So they went got a dog protective service to come out there, and I told dog protective service that basically the house was raggedy since the day it was bought by the trustee. He made it worse when he brought workers or restoration folks that come in and fix up the house when he had a flood. But then he wants to blame all the stuff he does on us. That's what they do. They have a tendency of doing that. They mess up and then they blame the family. Anyway, they called Dog Protective Services, so we had to talk with them. And I had to explain to them basically the stuff that's going on in this house, like with the maintenance and stuff like that. That's their fault, not ours. Which was a waste of time and traumatic, because why are you calling Dog Protective Services because of something you did? Like, it didn't make no sense to me at the time. And then also, the worst part was they sent Child Protective Service to my niece's school and humiliated her from her classmates and her teachers. They wasn't even trying to be secret. It was as if they was attacking a little girl, too, to try to break the family. About a month later, approximately a day after Mother's Day, which I had visited my mother in the hospital, she was in hospice on her deathbed. She had gotten worse, and she ended up in hospice. We had a hearing, and at the hearing, the guardian at the time, which she's no longer the guardian now, was Charlene Glover Hogan, and the GAL, unfortunately, he's still a GAL, James McCann, went there with false allegations saying I was violent, which wasn't true, saying I was an alcoholic, which wasn't true, and saying I was on drugs, which wasn't true. And her basically was saying I was an alcoholic and on drugs because all my teeth had been pulled in 2016. The reason why my teeth had been pulled, and I talked to, I believe it was 2 doctors and 2 dentists about this, wasn't because I was on drugs, because I wasn't doing any drugs. It was because of stress. Apparently, the court had stressed me out so bad, and my anxiety had gotten so bad that I clenched my teeth in my sleep so hard that I broke them. And I didn't even know I was doing it. 1 and 2, I was eating a diet that was acidic at the time because I was trying to lose weight, which I did lose the weight, but then I had an acidic diet. So combined with the acidic diet and me clenching my teeth so hard and grinding my teeth so hard in my sleep that I broke was the reason why I lost all my teeth. So literally the stress from the court caused me to lose all my teeth, but then they ran to the court and said that I lost all my teeth because I was on drugs and the alcohol. So they went to court and demanded that I get drug tested and that I get psychiatric evaluation. Because they also tried to say I was violent because of some holes in the wall. And mind you, like I said, this house was not built to code. The walls are so thin. My niece asked me to put some holes in the wall when she was a kid. But they tried to blame me. And mind you, they went to the court with no proof whatsoever. And the Judge David Bryce at the time, at first he was hesitant to do it. But then Charlene kept whining and complaining to get him to do it. So then he did and said, well, you need to get evaluated. And then she talking about, until I get evaluated, my income get cut off. As a result of that, my income was cut off for 2 months. This was right after I buried my mom, because we had this court hearing, the 5/14/2018. My mother was buried 5/19/2018. So a few days after this hearing, where they was attacking me, my mother, that's right, my mother was not buried. My mother died. She died that Saturday. So a few days after this hearing, where they was attacking my character and defaming me, my mother passed away. And then after my mother passed away, they had me go and do testing basically by a person that was an independent contractor for Wayne County Probate Court, which I thought was biased and a conflict of interest. So I went and got tested by him, and I went pick somebody myself to give me another test, psychiatric test, because I didn't trust him. And I also went and got tested for drugs. And the guy that tested me that they selected said I could not see my test result because it was government property. I couldn't see it unless I get a lawyer. He was 2 hours late to the appointment. And he did cut the test down 2 hours because he was 2 hours late to the appointment. It was like they were trying to psych me out, something to get me to leave, get me to freak out and leave, whatever, but I didn't. But I was very stressed out, but I stuck in there, hung in there. And then I went to get evaluated by somebody I selected. They said nothing was wrong with me except I was grieving my mother's death, which is normal. I had adjustment disorder because I hadn't adjusted to the fact that my mother had died, which is normal. And I was under extreme stress and had anxiety disorder from dealing with the court. So she even wrote that report, like, due to the court actions. Like, that's why she got anxiety disorder, and she's grieving, and she has adjustment disorder because her mother just died. So then I went and got drug tested. They said there was no drugs in my system because I don't take drugs. I never once took a street drug a day in my life. I never even smoked weed a day in my life. I haven't ate weed, the edibles, none of that. I never done that. I rarely drink. Sometimes I go years without drinking. If I do drink, it's literally like 2 holidays a year. Christmas and Thanksgiving, I might have like 1/4 a glass of wine. I don't need that much. Like, I don't drink, but she ran down there and made an accusation. Or they ran down there and made an accusation that I drink. So I went, got all the tests done, and then I had a lawyer at the time that was helping me, but he couldn't keep helping because I couldn't keep affording to pay him. Because mind you, we had just had our mom's funeral, so I couldn't keep affording to pay him. So I had to go represent myself. So I had to gather up all my evidence, so I did the test. There's nothing wrong with me. The other test, I couldn't gather because, like I said, they said it was government property. I couldn't see without an attorney, and I couldn't afford an attorney anymore. So that got automatically sent to the court, and all 3 testers said there was no issue with me. They said I wasn't violent, I wasn't an alcoholic, I wasn't a drug addict. Even the government test, the one where they picked the evaluator instead of me picking it, he said there wasn't nothing wrong with me. The other test said basically the stuff that was wrong with me was normal. Grieving my mother's death, adjusted to her not being here anymore. Things that sort of anxiety because I was dealing with the court. And then they saw I had no drugs in my system. And then I told her flat out, I went up to the court, I had my little motion. I had a motion to reinstate me for my payments and to also give me back my money I didn't get. They didn't give me back part of my money because McCann was blind and complaining, but she didn't go get the test fast enough. I was like, because I was fighting to go get the test because I should have needed to go get the test because it was humiliating and uncalled for and an abusive process and malicious persecution. But they ended up reinstating my payment, but they just didn't give me part of my check back that was missed or whatever. And that stuff they did has stuck with me ever since because every time like I go to grieve about my mom, it makes me think about how they made me miss the whole day with my mom dealing with their bull. How they made me feel before my mother died and I knew she was dying. How they knew I was going through all this stuff because I told them, and instead of them backing up saying, hey, we shouldn't keep trying to drag this lady into court because she's not even doing anything wrong, they decided to mess with me more. And mind you, I had stepped away from the case for a few years. Like in, I believe, 2016, I had stepped away from the case because I was so stressed out of the case. I was like, I had to look after me for a while because I was having panic attack after panic attack after panic attack. And those panic attacks came from 2015 in April when they drugged me in the court and humiliated me and was laughing at me and making jokes about my sister's case, making jokes about Kim, making jokes about me. And I got so angry and humiliated that I got to the point where I had panic attacks when I would go out. So I could barely go out for a few years. It's still to this day, like, I have a hard time traveling sometimes. Sometimes I have to, like, talk myself into traveling or talk myself through the traveling because I got humiliated in public. But instead of them being more understanding, they decided to try to pile me some more. So then I got mad. I got really pissed. I was sad and distraught, but I was really pissed off because I dare they keep doing this to my family over and over again and abusing us. I dare they come after me, even though I stepped away from the case and dragged me to court knowing that my mother was dying. At this point, it wasn't even just about the money. It was about this tormenting other people, bullying them, showing off their authority. These people are not just greedy or money hungry. They're sick in the head. You have to be a sick individual to get your kids off of tormenting somebody, knowing their mother dying or knowing their mother died, and knowing you're wrong. And that's what they did. So when they did that, all the gloves came off, and I decided to fight back and fight back hard, tooth and nail. I fought back so hard that they had banned me from coming to court unless I paid $2,000 in 2015. But that's a whole nother video. And they ended up removing that ban because I kept fighting. And then the lawyer I had was trash at the time. I ended up getting another lawyer who helped us out a whole lot. Me and him worked together. He knew I had a paralegal background, so I would do legal research and stuff like that, and then let him do the lawyer stuff. But together, we was able to get rid of Sean Glover Hogan. We was able to get rid of another bad guardian, Joya Garland. That's a whole nother story, a whole nother video. And we also was able to get rid of Mark Haywood, the former trustee. But then they allowed him to hire another trustee, and she's just as bad or worse than he is. So, like, ever since then, I've been fighting. And it had got to a point where I had asked people for help, and asked people for help for years. And nobody stepped in, nobody did anything, or if they did something, it was so minimal, it didn't matter. And the people I'm talking about didn't do anything are the people that's in authority. Like, or didn't do much. Like the Attorney General, the Attorney Grieving Commission, the Judicial Team Commission, the courts, all that stuff. Like, they didn't really do anything like they were supposed to do. And then I went to different agencies, like different nonprofits for help. They didn't really specialize in the area I needed to specialize in, so they didn't really help. So that's when I made up my mind to make a nonprofit that help people that's in the same situation or similar situation we are in. That's where I came up with Eyes on Probate, Ashley Against Abuse, and our main goal is to do court watching and then basically tell. Do court watching, and if any officer or court officer doing something they're not supposed to be doing, report it to the proper authorities. Go to the news. We want to create different legislators to make it so they be held more accountable for their actions. And things like that. So I talked about that in another video. For instance, how guardians don't hardly have any oversight whatsoever, and that is needed. They need to have oversight. And I'm not talking about family guardians, stuff like that. My focus is on the so-called professional guardians or the public guardians. The judges also need to have oversight. And the Judicial Team Commission is not really oversight for real, because it's just like other judges. We need other people like non-lawyers, people that are not judges, people that work in different areas like teachers, doctors, people that have everyday jobs, all that to be on the board on those different agencies, so they could do a better job in policing and checking these people and disciplining them when they do something wrong. Then they'll think twice about exploiting people. They think twice about abusing the system or abusing them. So that's why I came up with Eyes on Probate, Ashley Against Abuse. And that's why I went to law school to get my law degree, which I just got late April this year. So, and now while I'm doing YouTube and while I'm waiting for my tax exemption status to come back from the IRS so I can begin accepting donations and begin really up and running the nonprofit, I decided to, I decided to take my bar exam in Michigan instead in the other states for taking in. So I had to petition to take it up here. And part of a petition means that I had to get a bunch of paperwork together from my school, and I had to write a petition, which I already written. And I had to also take a extra course in law, so much like about Michigan procedure or whatever. But that was the reason, or one of the many reasons, why I created Eyes on Probate, because they do so much more wrong to the family. I don't even know if I can remember it all. But I try to document it here on this channel. So, yeah. So, like and subscribe and spread the word about this channel. Spread the word about probate abuse. And please, please try to stay out of probate court. And if you get in probate court, try to do what you can to get out of there. Because them people don't have your best interests at heart at all. Only their own pocketbook, and their own sick, twisted pleasures like that they have when they end up hurting somebody, like hurting somebody when their mother's dying. So again, like and subscribe and share.